Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahakataraha Juhava Putreti tanmayatayo taravo binedus Tam sarva bhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. So for those of you who do not know, yesterday and today morning we read two verses from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, from chapter 27, Understanding of Material Nature. And today we will read the third verse in the sequence. We read second, third, and today we'll read fourth verse. This verse is peculiar because it is repeated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5 times. There is no other verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which is repeated that many times. And it probably means that there is some special significance in this particular verse, and I will try to explain to the most of my ability what is this special significance and what is the practical application of this verse in our life. So we'll read it together. Please repeat. Verse number 4, chapter 27, canto 3. Arthe hi avidyamane api samsriti na nivartate dhyayataha vishayan asya svapne anartha agamaha yatha arthehya vidyamanepi arthehya vidyamanepi samsritir nanivartate samsritir nanivartate dhyayato vishayan asya dhyayato vishayan asya svapne narthagamo yatha svapne narthagamo yatha arthehya vidyamanepi samsritir nanivartate dhyayato vishayan asya svapne narthagamo yatha. Okay,
Arteya vidyamanepi
Arteya vidyamanepi
Samsritir Samsritirna nivartate.
Samsritirna
nivartate.
Jayato vishayanasya.
Jayato vishayanasya.
Nenartha gamo yadaha.
Svanenartha gamo yadaha.
Arthe, real cause.
Real cause.
He, certainly. Avidyamane, not existing. Api, although. Samsritihi, the material existential condition. Na, not. Nivartate, thus cease. Dhyayataha, contemplating. Vishayan, objects of the senses. Asya, of the living entity. Swapne, in a dream. Anartha, of disadvantages. Agamaha, arrival. Yatha, like. Translation and purport. Actually, a living entity is transcendental to material existence, but because of his mentality of lording it over material nature, his material existential condition does not cease. And just as in a dream, he is affected by all sorts of disadvantages. Purport. The example of a dream is very appropriate. Due to different mental conditions, in dream we are put into advantageous and disadvantageous positions. Similarly, the spirit soul has nothing to do with this material nature. But because of this mentality of lording it over, he is put into the position of conditional existence. Conditional existence is described here as dhyayato vishayan asya. Vishaya means an object of enjoyment. As long as one continues to think that he can enjoy material advantages, he is in conditioned life. But as soon as he comes to his senses, he develops the knowledge that he is not the enjoyer, for the only enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, he is the beneficiary of all the results of sacrifices and penances, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam, and he is the proprietor of all three worlds, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the actual friend of all living entities. But instead of living proprietorship, enjoyment, and actual position as the friend of all living entities to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we claim that we are the proprietors, the enjoyers, and the friends. We perform philanthropic work thinking that we are friends of human society. Someone may proclaim himself to be a very good national worker, the best friend of the people and of the country, but actually he cannot be the greatest friend of everyone. The only friend is Krishna. One should try to raise the consciousness of the conditioned soul to the platform of understanding that Krishna is his actual friend. If one makes friendship with Krishna, he will never be cheated, and he will get all help needed. Arousing his consciousness, this consciousness of the conditioned souls is the greatest service, not posing oneself as a great friend of another living entity. The power of friendship is limited. Although one claims to be a friend, he cannot be a friend unlimitedly. There are an unlimited number of living entities, and our resources are limited. Therefore, we cannot be of any real benefit to the people in general. The best service to the people in general is to awaken them to Krishna consciousness, so that they may know that the Supreme Enjoyer, the Supreme Proprietor, and the Supreme Friend is Krishna. Then this illusory dream of lording it over material nature will vanish. Arthehya vidyamanepi samsritir na nivartate dhyayato vishayan asya swapne narthagamo yatha. Actually, a living entity is transcendental to material existence, but because of his mentality of lording it over material nature, his material existential condition does not cease. And just as in a dream, he is affected by all sorts of disadvantages. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Yantah pravishyamam avachim imam prasuktam sanjivayate kila shakti darasvadhamna anyamscha hasta charana shravana tvagadim pranam namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam svasyastu vishvasya kalah prasidatam dayantu bhutani shivam mithodiyam anascha badram bhajata tadokshaje aveshyatam no matirabhyahai tuki. Hare Krishna. So, let's try to meditate a little bit on this verse, because every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is the subject for our meditation. And this meditation is extremely beneficial because ultimately it will free us from the sufferings of this material existence. The very purpose of the creation of Srimad Bhagavatam, or rather, Srimad Bhagavatam has never been created, but the purpose of revealing Srimad Bhagavatam to this world was to give us the experience of the spiritual happiness. And I'll try to explain the significance of this verse, but before I do this, I will read 2 or 3 more translations which Prabhupada himself gives to the same verse. Just for you to understand how the same verse can be translated in a completely different way. So in the 4th canto, in the 29th chapter, where this verse is spoken twice by Narada Muni, first time Srila Prabhupada translates the same verse which we just read. Sometimes we suffer because we see a tiger in a dream or a snake in a vision. But actually, there is neither a tiger nor a snake. Thus we create some situation in a subtle form and suffer the consequences. The sufferings cannot be mitigated unless we are awakened from our dream. There was no tiger and a snake in the previous translation, that's for sure. So, and here is the next translation, is the same chapter 29, verse 73. Srila Prabhupada translates exactly the same verse. When the living entity dreams, the sense objects are not actually present. However, because one has associated with the sense objects, they become manifest. Similarly, the living entity with undeveloped senses does not cease to exist materially, even though he may not be exactly in contact with the sense objects. Anyway, I think you got an idea that this verse has varieties of meaning, and I will try to explain this verse accordingly, so that ultimately we understand what is its significance in our life and how we can apply this idea which is expressed in this verse. So, in the context of what we read, 2 previous verses or 3 previous verses, in the first verse of this chapter, Kapila Dev says that actually soul and the material body does not have real connection. In Vedic logic, the connections or the relationship between two objects are described in different terms. Like, this is the glass and this is the table. So, technically speaking, the relationship between the glass and the table are called Samyoga Sambandha. It's just relationship of, of, how you say this, one is placed over the other. It's Samyoga Sambandha. So, Kapila Dev says, the relationship between body and the soul is not Samyoga Sambandha. Because the soul is not in the body, the soul is not in the contact with body. Samyoga Sambandha is the relationship of contact. This glass is contacting table. And, I can remove the glass and the relationship are not there anymore. The very relationship, now there is no relationship. So it's not like in the case of the soul, because soul is not really contacting the body. It's completely different, and the example is given that there is a sun and there is a water. And we see that the sun is reflected in the water, but the sun is not in the water. So it's not Samyoga Sambandha. Then the next relationship, very famous relationship, is called Samavaya Sambandha. Samavaya Sambandha means the relationship of inherence. The object and its quality, they're related with each other as in this form, in this kind. The relationship between the quality, for example, the sugar and the sweetness. It's Samavaya Sambandha. The sweetness is inherent in the sugar. You cannot really remove, like I can remove the glass and no relationship, but you cannot remove sweetness from the sugar. It's inherently there. So obviously soul is not in this kind of sambandha with the body. You can remove the soul and the body will still remain and the soul will be separate. So it's not Samyoga Sambandha, it's not Samavaya Sambandha. Then there is another kind of relationship which is Svarupa Sambandha. I will not even explain it, otherwise you will just run away from this class and I will leave talking to 4 walls or to Panchatattva, because Lord Chaitanya was a logician, so he knows what I'm talking about. So he knows all this kind of sambandhas which are described in Nyaya, especially in Navya Nyaya. Svarupa Sambandha, again, body is not the Svarupa of the soul. It's not the real form of the soul, so there is no Svarupa Sambandha. So what is the relationship of the soul with the body? Kapila Dev explains that the relationship between the soul and the body is adhyas. Adhyas means superimposition. We are superimposing the soul on the body. Superimposing means we think that we are this body, actually the soul is completely different, the body is different, but because of this very tight superimposition, we kind of mistakenly accept this body as the soul, the body as the living entity. So why I'm talking this, I'm explaining the first verse of this chapter and postulating this point. Please listen very carefully, very attentively. Kapila Dev says, soul is not really connected with the body, but because because the soul is absorbed in this the qualities of material nature and wants to enjoy the qualities of material nature, then the soul develops ahankar, and this ahankar becomes the knot, becomes the connecting power between the body and the soul. The soul wants to enjoy, and the only way for the soul to enjoy matter is to identify with the body. I am this body, and by the means of this body, by the means of this mechanism, I can lord it over material nature, as Srila Prabhupada translates this. I want to be the Lord and Master, and for this the body is given to me, and I develop ahankar. I am the doer. And with the ahankar, I develop pride. Look what I'm doing. I'm doing such amazing things, and I'm playing mridanga so nicely. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Or whatever, whatever stupid things we do, we're very proud of this. And the more stupid they are, the more proud we are. It's an amazing paradox which is there. But we become very proud. We develop this abhiman. Look what I can do. And as a result of ahankar, this is the verse number 3 which we read this morning, we create karma. Because of this ahankrita bhav, because of this bhav, I'm the doer, I'm doing the activities. Because we are doing the activities, we're responsible for the activities. So because we're responsible for the activities, we should reap the results of the activities. And that is called karma. The law of karma, providence, destiny, all this astrological stuff which we are studying, it's all related to this. I have been doing this, I developed this ahankar, I'm the doer. Because I'm the doer, I will have to be responsible. And therefore, I'm being born again and again and again. There is a nice story which I told yesterday in private conversation, but I will tell it now because it's very appropriate to this. Sometimes people say, the philosophical people say, no, I'm not doing this. They read this kind of stuff and they, they try to pretend that they are not the doers. They say, it's all Krishna is doing, I'm just, who am I? Krishna is doing everything. But in reality, because they are proud, the responsibility is theirs. So the little stories goes like this. There was one man, and he was a very good gardener, and he was also a philosopher. He was kind of, he knew Vedanta. So, but he was very proud of his little garden. He was planting all kinds of trees there and beautiful flowers, and was taking care of them. And every day he would come and enjoy this garden. Look, this is my creation. So beautiful. So once a poor cow strolled into this garden, and because cows are stupid, they are holy animals, but nevertheless they are very stupid. They don't understand that this garden is somebody's object of pride. So the cow started eating all these beautiful flowers and leaves. And the man, when he saw that this cow is destroying his favorite garden, he became very angry and he threw a stone into this cow. And it so happened that the stone hit the eye of the cow and the cow died. And it's a huge sin, to kill the cow. So this man somehow or other he hid the cow, and but anyway he could hid the cow from the eyes of other people, but he couldn't really hid it from Yamaraj. So when the time came and he is supposed to die, Yamaraj sent his messengers, Yamadutas, and told Yamadutas, bring this rascal to me, we will deal with him. And Yamadutas came, and he was sitting under the tree in the garden, and they said, please come with us. And he said, no, why should I come with you? I don't have any karma, and they told him, wait a second, my dear sir, you killed the cow. He said, no, I didn't kill the cow. It was my hand who threw the stone, and I was not acting. The soul was not acting. It's the hand, and Indra is responsible for the hand. So if you want to deal with this, please deal with Indra. Indra threw the stone by my hand, so and because this Yamadutas, they were not learned in Vedanta, they couldn't really argue with him. So they went back to Yamaraj and they reported to Yamaraj, this man says that, he has nothing to do with it. He is not doing anything. He is just a pure spirit soul sitting in this body. And Yamaraj said, watch me. And he took this Yamadutas and he took a guise and he became a Brahmana, and he came to this garden and he saw this man was there in the garden. And this Brahmana started asking him, can you please tell me about this tree or that tree? And the man became so happy. He said, this tree is very special. I planted this tree. And I very carefully took care of this tree, and because this tree is very rare, somehow or other it grew this, and see how beautiful it is. And the Brahman said, yeah, really, very nice tree. And this flower, I planted this tree, and I planted this flower, and this is very nice flower, this and that. And the Brahmana was nodding his head and said, yes, you planted the tree, you planted the flower, and who killed the cow? So the idea in the verse number 3, which we read this morning, is that because of ahankar, we create karma. The cause of karma is ahankar. I am the doer, and because I am the doer, I am responsible, and the consequences of all my actions, reactions of all my actions are there with me. And Krishna says, if you don't have the false ego that you are the doer, you can do whatever you like. If you really don't have this false ego, if you really only, witnessing the activities, then you're not responsible. But as soon as this bhav is there, as this consciousness is there, then you're responsible. And as a result of this consciousness, of this bhav, of this karma, it is said in the previous verse that because of this, the man starts doing faulty activities. Every activity in this world has some fault in it, some problem in it. And you may be very well-meaning. Your intentions may be good. Still, as soon as you start doing some activities, for example, you're a philanthropist, as Prabhupada explaining in this purport, still you will do something, so much sinful activities is connected with this. Even though you may be doing very good work, but you have to, kill the animals, maybe little bugs or whatever. So much sinful activities we create inevitably in this world. And because of this, since we have this bhav, I am the doer, we are tena samsara padavim avasho. Helplessly, we are reaching this state of samsara. We cannot do anything. We cannot break this cycle of birth and death. As long as we have this consciousness or this bhav, this mood that I am doing this. So, then of course, if we got this idea, if we really understood this idea that I am creating karma, and therefore I am being born sadasat mishra yonishu. I am being born in good position and bad position and mixed position. Sometimes in a very high position, sometimes in a very low. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm not so happy. Sometimes I'm in mixed position. Because of this, the natural solution which comes to our mind. We are working, we are acting in this world, and therefore we're creating karma, and therefore we're suffering in this world. So the natural solution which comes to the mind, let's not work. So if the work is a problem, okay, no problem, I will not work. So therefore Krishna in this verse, not Krishna, Kapila Dev, in this verse says, Arte hya avidyamane pi, even if you're not working. Arte in this particular translation, which I'm trying to explain, is that the goal, even if you don't have any goal. Let's say you realize that any activity in this world is connected with sufferings, and you try to avoid these sufferings by avoiding work. There are so many people who are doing this. They usually clad in saffron clothes, and they are, trying to practice some sort of spiritual activities. And the main idea is that they want to avoid this. But Kapila Dev says it's useless. It's not a solution. Because arte hi avidyamane pi, even if you don't have any goal, even if you are not trying to work, samsritir nani vartate. You will not be able to get rid of this samsara. Why you will not be able to get rid of this samsara? Dhyayataha vishayanasya. Because you still will meditate on the objects of the senses and will try to enjoy the objects of the senses. Maybe not in the body, but in the mind. So this is unfortunately what is happening. People, they becoming frustrated with their life, especially with their family life. They were trying to enjoy family life, didn't work. It usually doesn't work. And then they renounce the family life, and that's the good way to renounce the family life. Just get some little color and color your clothes and say, I have nothing to do with it. Walk away from home. But, Kapila Dev says, what you will do, you will walk away from home, you will give up your family life, but in your mind, you will still continue doing the same thing. Dhyayato vishayan. You will still, but you will do it in the mind, and it's probably better if you would do it in your real body, because in your mind, you can do much more sinful activities than in the body. body is very limited. You cannot do much. But in your mind, you can fantasize. You can create so many situations. And that's, unfortunately, that's what's going on. People renounce the world in a false way, and they trying to enjoy in the mind, because all these impressions are still there in the mind. The still desire is there in the mind, and therefore the impressions are there in the mind, and they're still trying to enjoy, and ultimately it manifests sooner or later again in some illicit activity in this material world. So many sannyasis unfortunately do this. They renounce this, and then still they cannot stop the mind. They cannot stop these propensities in the mind, and because they cannot stop the propensities in the mind, sooner or later they physically create some sinful activities, and it becomes a big scandal. So many scandals are there, and it's not not in only Vedic tradition. Everywhere, people become priests, Catholic priests are supposed to be celibate, and then they try to do some mischief, and so many people become the victims of this. So therefore, Kapila Dev very clearly says, samsritim nani vartate. You cannot really stop samsara in this way. So that's a very important point. Moreover, if we take Srimad Bhagavatam as a whole and try to understand the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see that this false renunciation, premature renunciation, useless renunciation is actually not only not approved in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's condemned in Srimad Bhagavatam. You should not do this. It's better to be honest person in this world, to be engaged in honest work and try to meditate on God rather than renounce this world and meditate on sinful activities. So, therefore, it's not a solution. It's very interesting. I was thinking today that in the same third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained that before creating this world, Lord Brahma, the creator of this world, he created 5 coverings of ignorance. Because this world is specifically created for people to manifest their ignorant propensities. For the souls, it's created as a school to get rid of these ignorant propensities. But, to facilitate our enjoyment in this world, Lord Brahma first created these coverings of ignorance, and there are 5 in number. These 5 coverings are very famous, and the very first covering is called Tamishra. It's Tamishra, Andatamishra, Tamaha, Moha, and Mahamoha. Please listen. These 5 coverings of ignorance are also explained in yoga. In yoga philosophy, it is explained that we have 5 kleshas. And because the human being is a replica of the universe, the universe and the human being, they are created through the design is the same. So in yoga it is explained there are 5 kleshas or 5 causes of sufferings. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesha. And this 5, avidya means ignorance, asmita means false ego, raga means attachment, dvesha means hatred, and abhinivesha means complete absorption and fear of death. So this all causes of our suffering in this world. And Lord Brahma, while he was creating these coverings of the universe, he basically created this same 5 things, but in a universal scale. So the same thing as there. But when in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam it is explained that the first most important covering of ignorance is called Tamishra, and Tamishra is explained by the commentators and in Vishnu Purana as anger. Please listen, what is the concept, what I want to say. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, and Abhinivesha. So first you are generally ignorant of who you are, and therefore you develop false identity with this material body. And by developing the false identity with the material body, you develop some attachment. And after developing some attachment and trying to enjoy this material world, you develop some hatred, some repulsion. You don't like something. And then these four things, they create complete absorption in the matter. And the complete absorption in the matter creates fear of death. We're all very fearful of death. Does somebody here wants to die? No? Why not?
Not yet.
I know a woman who wants to die.
Okay, so it means that she suffers so much that she just wants to get rid of it.
She'll get to an amazing and beautiful world,
Yeah, but anyway, so what I want to say is that when the same 5 coverings I explained in the universal scale, the first one is Dvesha. Dvesha means or anger, So the idea which I want to say is that this Dvesha or frustration with the material life, the rejection of activity, the desire to renounce this material world is the worst kind of ignorance. People think that by rejecting this material world, by trying to stop material activities, they become spiritual. This is a usual conception of the spiritual life. Spiritual life means doing nothing. Right? Otherwise, how it is the viable alternative of this material world, which we are doing. If the material life means doing, then spiritual life means not doing anything. No. Srimad Bhagavatam says this is the worst kind of ignorance. You're working like an ass, this is an ignorance. You're trying to reject and stop all work, this is another ignorance. This is the first ignorance, this is the worst ignorance. Don't try it. It's not possible. It's not the solution. It's not the viable solution to our problems. And the viable solution to our problems is given in the next verse, in the 5th verse. But here it is said, samsaritirna nivartante. You will not be able to stop samsara by this artificial means. So why you will not be able to stop this? Dhyayata vishayanasya swapne anartha agamaha yatha. The example which Kapila Dev is giving here is that while you're sleeping, you're not contacting with the senses, right? You're not working hard, but still you're suffering, right? Like today I had today I had a nice dream, a very interesting dream. I was enjoying my dream today. Somehow or other, I don't know why it is, in my dream I saw that Srila Jiva Goswami is still living and I can visit him. That was a nice dream. But that's rare. Usually dreams are not so nice, and as Prabhupada says, you may see the tiger in the dream, or you may see a snake in a dream. And you're still suffering in a dream. The snake is not there, the tiger is not there. but because the impression is still there, because your mind is still working in the same way as before. You're not really free from all the sufferings. Anarthas are not, disadvantages are not gone. So the way to stop this is actually, and that's a very practical point which I want you to bring home from this lecture. The problem is this: Dhyayataha Vishayan Asya. Because we're meditating on the objects of the senses. Meditating on the objects of the senses means basically that we're going along and we see nice window of the shop, and different lights are there, and we were driving here through Dublin, and so nice, and you look at that, and the immediate feeling appears: oh, I can enjoy this. I can enjoy this, and they're nice, creating these dreams. All these people, when they want to sell something, they're really creating some sort of a dream to you. And you start meditating, and you have a feeling: oh yeah, that's the way to do. That's the way to enjoy. That's the way to live. This is wonderful. So as long as this idea will stick to your head, you will continue this samsara, because you will always see something attractive, something seemingly enjoyable. As long as you have this idea that I can be happy in this material world, and therefore Srila Prabhupada very beautifully translates this verse. He says, but because his mentality of lording it over material nature, his material existential condition does not cease. Srila Prabhupada translates this Dhyayata Vishayan, meditation on the objects of the senses, as mentality of lording it over material nature. Because when we see nice cake, what do we want to do with the cake? Do we want to serve this cake? Such a nice, beautiful cake. Let me do something nice for this cake. No, we want to really. So it's a very interesting psychology which we have to clearly understand. Prabhupada's godbrother, Bhakti Rasaksidan Maharaj, very beautifully explained it. He said that when we see the material nature in all its attractive forms, and of course the best way to observe material nature is to go through the center of a city to downtown city and see all these different showcases, different windows of different shops. So this material nature seems to be nobody's, and it's inviting us to enjoy her. We are Purusha, we are soul, we have this tendency to enjoy. Purusha means the enjoyer, Purusha means the soul, and we have this propensity to enjoy, and we see Prakriti. Prakriti is feminine, Purusha is masculine. Male wants to enjoy female, Purusha wants to enjoy Prakriti. And Prakriti, by being masterless, there is an illusion in this material world that this Prakriti does not belong to anyone. If a male, macho male sees unprotected, beautiful young girl, immediately this desire to enjoy appears in his mind. So when the Purusha, who is male by his psychological constitution, when the soul sees this matter, and matter seemingly says, no, I don't belong to anyone, please enjoy me, I am for your enjoyment. this desire to enjoy, yes, I'm yours, and you are mine. So, and Srila Prabhupada explains this proprietorship. What is this desire to enjoy? It's basically the proprietorship. I want to have it. How I can enjoy this glass. It's very difficult to enjoy this glass. But if I mentally adjust my mind that to make this glass a part of myself. What is proprietorship? Proprietorship basically means this thing becomes the part of me. This is me. This beautiful car. You cannot enjoy the car which belongs to somebody else. You may try, but it's not going to last long. If you try to enjoy the car which doesn't belong to you, but when it belongs to you, the car becomes part of you. And if somebody does something nasty to your car, you become really angry. If somebody does something nasty to somebody else's car, you can't care less. But because the car becomes a part of you and you're trying to enjoy the car, this is the instrument of your enjoyment. You are becoming attached to this car, and this is what is happening. This material nature is because we forget. Why Srila Prabhupada explains this verse the way he explained. He says all our problems starts when we forget that this material nature belongs to whom? Krishna.
Yes.
Really? Not me? Are you sure? So, because we forget this simple fact that this is not our nature. This is not our nature. This is his nature. That's his energy. We try to enjoy. If we understand that this is his nature and this is the extension of Krishna, we will serve. And this is a completely opposite mood. The Bhogavriti and Sevavriti are 180% opposite to each other. And the solution, how do we stop samsara? We cannot stop samsara until Bhogavriti is going on. Until we meditate on this world and see it as the source of my enjoyment and my happiness. The only way to stop it, and even if we externally stop it, internally we will not stop it. The still mentality, the same mentality will go on non-stop. So the solution which is being suggested here by Kapila Dev and later by Narada Muni and later by Krishna himself, who are repeating the same verse, they say, please try to understand that this material world and our attempts to enjoy in this material world is like a dream. It's a dream. Dream not in the sense that it's illusory. Dream in the sense that we perceive what is happening with us in the wrong way. We are not saying that this, Mayavadis, followers of Shankaracharya, they'll say, this world doesn't exist, it's just my dream, I'm just dreaming. The peculiar question is that why am I dreaming every day the same dream? Why don't I change the dream? Because, we know in the dreams every night, why do I, wake up in the same dream and it's continuation of the same dream? So no, the nature of this world is not 100% dream-like. There is a reality in this world, there is no doubt about it. There is a reality in us. What is illusory, what is dream-like, our perception of this world, our understanding of the meaning of this world, our understanding of the purpose of my existence. That's dream-like. And because we don't understand it clearly and properly, we try to enjoy it, and as a result, the suffering comes. And when the suffering comes, we come to God and we tell God, my dear God, please make my dream little better. I'm sick and tired of this horrible dream. Please improve my dream. You know, I'm so attached to my dream. It's a nice dream, but it's too much horrible. So instead of making the solution of waking up from this dream and understanding the reality of the matter, I am the eternal soul, God is the eternal reality, there is eternal spiritual world where I have my eternal position of service to the Supreme Lord, and by putting myself into this position I will become eternally happy. Instead of doing this, we are begging God, please make us dream little better. You know, it's as if, you know, the tiger is running behind us in a dream. And we're running from the tiger. And we're coming to God and saying, God, please, you know, kill this tiger. You know, what should we ask God? You know, we should ask God, please wake me up. We should come to Him and tell Him, please wake me up from my dream. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Please give me the real understanding of what is going on. The suffering will cease to exist. But if we try to just little improve our dream, you know, little make the dream little better, you know, the sufferings will continue, go on. Samsara will go on. There will be no end of this samsara. So that's a very important understanding, that the solution is not to run away from the world. The solution is not to stop working. The solution is not to try God to help us in our very difficult life, to make it little better, to, you know, to help us. My dear Lord, please give me green card in America. You know, people, they're born and they're dying and they get old age and disease in America as well. Believe me, I was just there. If you have not been there, no need to go there. The same thing is going on there as well. America is not different. It's a part of material world. It's a part of the dream which we invented. We created this concept. We created this concept that I am enjoying this, and that the real solution is to change this concept. And to change this concept, actually the solution is given here, not directly but indirectly, when Kapila Dev says Dhyayataha Vishayan. If our meditation on the objects of the senses causes all this dreamlike existence to continue, causes this suffering in this material world, causes this samsara to continue, then what is the solution? Meditation on whom? Meditation on God. You know, if the problem is meditation on the objects of the senses. And meditation means basically the false idea that I can become happy. No, you should use the sense, the objects of the sense. We need it. We need all this stuff to do it, but don't apply too much importance to this. It's really not that you know, that juicy. You know, you try to squeeze out the juice, but the juice is not there. You try it harder and harder. You know, every time you got an idea, now I will enjoy. And you try it, and it doesn't work. You know, and you think, okay, it didn't work this time, next time it will work for sure. And you try next time. No, it didn't work. Maybe I did something wrong. Next time. You know, this is what people do. And they marry one time and they think, I will enjoy. It didn't work, so no problem. Divorce, next marriage. Divorce, next marriage. Didn't work this time, it will work next time. They try to enjoy, it doesn't work, but the hope is still there. So the solution, as Kapila Dev says here in the next verse, please, don't be so foolish to hope that you will squeeze out juice or become happy in the place where happiness is not there. Krishna says, Dukhalayam ashashvatam. This world is full of suffering and this world is temporary. That's the greatest problem of this world. And therefore the solution is that we should meditate on God. This is the suggestion of Bhagavad Gita. This is what Bhakti Yoga is, to think about God. To think how you will be happy with God. It's not easy because, I remember very clearly that when I just started becoming a devotee, my friend gave me the beads, and I said, what am I supposed to do? He said, you should chant this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And you should meditate on Krishna. You should think about Krishna. And I asked him, how do I think about Krishna? And he said, I don't know, but you try. So, and then he showed to me, at that time there was this incense. They were very rare, but there were these special packages of incense sticks. And there was, it was from India, of course, and in the cover of this incense stick, box, there was a picture of Krishna, and Krishna was with long hairs, and he was in his tribanga, and he was really funny, chubby, with big eyes, and he looked like a woman, so, and he gave me this box of the incense stick, and he said, you meditate on him. And I said, him or her? Not sure. I was more used to meditate on her than on him. So, anyway, it didn't really work. But there is a way to meditate on Krishna. What is the way to meditate on Krishna? The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam very clearly says. What the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam says? The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam says what this book is all about. Satyam Param Dhimahi. Let us meditate on the Supreme Truth. Rather than meditating on the temporary objects of this world, which will never make us really happy. They may give us some illusion of happiness for a very short period of time. Srimad Bhagavatam starts with this suggestion. Let us meditate on the Supreme Truth, which is unchangeable. Satyam means eternal. Satyam means true all the time, everywhere. Krishna is Satya. It means that he is God not only in India but also here in Ireland and everywhere else. Even in the North Pole, he's still God. He's not changed. He's not changed over the years. Time doesn't affect him. Place doesn't affect him. Satyam Param. Therefore, he is the Supreme Truth. So, and the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is the meditation on the Supreme Truth. The meaning of the first verse is that if you want to meditate, if you want to concentrate your mind, this is the way to concentrate your mind. Don't try to invent some artificial means to do it, this meditation or that meditation. The meditation is already there. 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you read these verses, if you try to understand the flow of this meditation, this is the meditation of Vyasadeva himself. And Shukadev Goswami repeated his meditation. And the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is the proof of how effective it is. For 7 days, Maharaja Parikshit was listening and was absorbed in this meditation by listening Srimad Bhagavatam. At the end of the 7 days, he went back home, back to Godhead. He didn't even notice how the Takshaka, the snake, the mystical snake came. When the mystical snake came, Maharaja Parikshit already gone. His soul was already enjoying with Krishna. Because of this intense and guided meditation. What is Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam is the guided meditation on the supreme truths. And the only thing which we should do is to enter into the flow of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is like a river. And it's a very fast flowing river. And if we enter to this river and surrender to the flow of this river, then this river will bring us where? To the ocean. Inevitably it will bring us to the ocean. We don't have to, even to swim. We just, relax, Hare Krishna, just listen to this and try to enter into this flow of meditation, to be absorbed what Srimad Bhagavatam is, how Srimad Bhagavatam explains this absolute truth. You may not understand it immediately. You will not understand it. But you will get some sense. Some little sense how beautiful the absolute truth is, how attractive he is, how kind he is, how merciful he is, how powerful he is, how knowledgeable he is. We will gradually understand, and we will gradually see all our misconceptions. Srimad Bhagavatam not only showing us the supreme truth, but it also shows us the obstacles which are the hindrance for us to see the supreme truth as it is. Therefore, we should, from the very beginning, to go through this flow again and again and again. And at one point, we come to Krishna. Or we should, of course, at the same time, we should chant Hare Krishna, because that's also meditation. That's also the way to meditate on the supreme truth. And just by meditating on Krishna, your obsession with this material sense objects of enjoyment will gradually diminish, in a very natural way, not an artificial way. You will not need to run away from the sense objects. You will not be so afraid of these sense objects. It's like Hanuman. When he was traveling, when he flew to Lanka and he was supposed to find Sita, so his first immediate solution was to search for Sita in the Ravana's palace. And he entered Ravana's palace at night. And Ravana had many wives, beautiful wives. And they were all sleeping there. Many beautiful women, half drunk, after nice dinner with Ravana. And Hanuman is brahmachari. He's Naistik brahmachari. And, he goes through this strange place with many half-naked women. And he couldn't care less. No idea, I'm in the service of my God. He's just chanting Ram, 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 Ram. And no idea that I have any other purpose in life. In a natural way, not an artificial way. In a very kind way. The yogis who are trying to renounce this world, they're trying to renounce this world, but they become very angry. That's why it's called this anger. The first ignorance, the first covering of ignorance is called anger, because when you try to renounce this world, you become really irritable, old, nasty yogi. And all these people who are, sometimes it's a problem of all those people who are performing austerities. No, this is not the solution. The solution is to meditate on the supreme truth again and again and again. And ultimately it is explained in Vedanta Sutra also that if you repeat it's very interesting. This is the last thing which I will tell you before I stop, because I'm talking too much already. It is said in Vedanta Sutra, prakasascha karmany abhyasat. Very beautiful sutra is there. Why do we have to repeat spiritual practices? Why do we have to chant Hare Krishna again and again and again? Why do we have to chant this kirtan again and again and again? Because it is said there. Actually, you need only once to chant Hare Krishna, and the result will be there. The problem is that the result will be there in the next life, not in this life. In this life, if you want to have full result, you have to repeat it again and again and again. And in this sutra of Vedanta Sutra, it is said, prakasascha karmanya abhyasat. If you again and again and again repeat these spiritual practices, karmanya abhyasat, because of this repetition, because of this sadhana, prakashas, you will see the Lord. He will manifest in front of you. You will prove to him, I really want to see you. I have already seen everything. I've been to many countries. Everything is the same. You know, Dublin is not much different than London. London is not much different than New York. Of course, New York is worse. It's the worst, especially Manhattan. But they're all the same. There's not much difference. Same stuff. But if you want to see Krishna as he is in real, prakasas cha. Cha, it is explained that the word cha in this sutra means for sure. If you serious about your spiritual practice, your experience will be enhanced tremendously. Like even now, we were chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. And how many times you chanted this Hare Krishna mantra? But every time it is fresh. You chant this Hare Krishna mantra and it's so nice. It's so beautiful. And the more you do it, the deeper the experience becomes. And as a result, abhyasat, as a result of this practice, ultimately, the crown result, if you want it, you will see Krishna. That's the result of this meditation. If you want to meditate on Krishna. And for that, Hare Krishna mantra is there, Srimad Bhagavatam is there, Bhagavad Gita is there. And don't try to meditate artificially. That's the time-tested way of meditating on the Supreme Absolute Truth, by listening Srimad Bhagavatam and this. And in this way, this dream of material existence will become less annoying. It will not cease immediately to exist, but it will not be so annoying. You will actually be very happy in this world. You will be very harmoniously and benevolently disposed and situated in this world. You will be happy in this world too. So, thank you very much. That's something what I wanted to say.
Харе Кришна, Махарадж, спасибо за лекцию. Хотелось бы узнать, вы говорили, что один вариант, когда другое существо отрекается, да, и это плохо. Второй вариант, когда привязывается, тоже плохо. И, как мы можем понимать, должна быть деятельность какая-то, да, которая является деятельностью в сознании Кришны. Да? И мы знаем, что это обязанности, да, наши. Правильно?
Да.
Наши обязанности согласно нашему рождению.
Нашему положению, да.
Да. Но тем не менее, многие преданные понимают, все равно путают. И, может быть, выполняют эти обязанности хуже или бросают эти обязанности и, скажем так, предаются, да, уходят от этих обязанностей. И для них это звучит хорошо, бросить эти обязанности. Да. Но мы также упоминали в прошлый раз, что есть ложное эго, при помощи которого мы можем избавиться от самого ложного эго. Да? И в связи с этим важна садхана, здоровье, социальное положение. Стоит ли этому как-то обучаться?
Of course. His question is like this, that I told that that it's not a solution to renounce material activities. It's not a solution to renounce this material world, because we really cannot do it. But still, nevertheless, for some people who are frustrated with this material way of life, it's a tempting proposal, and therefore sometimes people become devotees because they really want to renounce, and they don't want to surrender to God, but they want to renounce this world and to kind of free themselves from the responsibilities. This is too much burden of responsibilities upon them, and therefore they try to find excuses and this. They find Krishna consciousness as a good excuse for their desire of liberation. So the question was whether we should teach people how to live properly. Definitely, we should very clearly understand that the renunciation, artificial renunciation, is not a solution. It's not necessary. It only will create anger in you ultimately. I've seen these people. They are trying to renounce, and at the same time they are so envious of other people who are enjoying, and they say, "Oh, this grihastas, they are enjoying." Or this Mataji, why is she coming here all the time? This anger is just a result of improper renunciation, so-called renunciation. It's not. So, we should teach people that be real, be yourself, do what you're supposed to do, fulfill those desires which you feel is very necessary for you to, but at the same time develop very deeply the attachment to the spiritual practices. So the emphasis should not be on the renunciation or not on the work itself. The emphasis should be on the spiritual practice. How we should chant Hare Krishna, how we should come together, and how we should listen Srimad Bhagavatam and understand the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, we should teach people how to do it, and we should show the example how to do it, how to be absorbed in this, how to meditate in this. So, solution is this, yes. Yes.
Вы сказали, если я правильно поняла, вы сказали, если быть серьезным и интенсивным в своей практике, то Кришна явится. Вот, то есть Даршан, да. У нас ни у кого нет сомнений в серьезности вашей практики и интенсивности. Не знаю, сколько, 20, 30 лет, 40, может,
42.
Вот, скажите, пожалуйста, явился ли вам уже Кришна? Вот. И второй вопрос, который меня мучает, с цветом тела более-менее все понятно, но все-таки какой типаж? Он как индус выглядит или более европейское? Более европейское, это выражение. Или может какие-то еще дополнения? Расскажите, какой он на самом деле?
To The question is, have you seen Krishna? And if you have seen Krishna, does he look like Hindu, or he is some more like Englishman or British or something? I will not claim anything false. Darshan of Krishna is not cheap, but we can get some sort of darshan of Krishna in the holy name. Like sometimes the holy name reveals its real nature, and we understand that the holy name is not just sound which we produce, but the sound which descends upon you. So I do have spiritual experience, which I'm not going to reveal now, but I cannot claim that I've seen Krishna with my own eyes. But I know people who, there is one very nice girl in London who is a daughter of devotees. And one day she woke up and she said, she called her parents, and she always tells truth. She is a very nice little girl. She's not so little anymore now. And she said, I saw Krishna. Krishna came to me. And she said, but he is not like he is being depicted in the scripture, in the pictures. He is much more beautiful. And I cannot even describe it. It's not possible to describe. He is so bright, and so it's unbelievable. And she still to this day, 10 years past, she still to this day very vividly remembers this. And she said, yeah, I know how Krishna likes. So if you really want, I can direct you to her. But she said that he looks different.
To nectar of devotion.
Huh?
Direct to nectar of devotion.
Nectar of devotion. Yes.
Maharaj, thank you so much for the class. I was wondering if you could help. I'm trying to understand how to use what you said, saying the field of psychology. You were saying that our identifying, say, with the body, particularly the subtle mind, whether we are heroic or whether we are powerful, it's identifying with that causes us
With the role, yeah. The identification with the role which we are playing.
Yes, and so the vice is also true to say that if I'm a pessimistic or different kind of negative traits, that would also cause me a problem. But if I were to say I'm neither any of this, and I'm a spirit soul, and my relationship is with Krishna, and I'm supposed to serve, that nature takes some time to know who we are. That process is long to know what our real nature is, what makes me unique to all the other spirit souls. So until we know that, we tend to fall back on what we know. Whether we are, hardworking or passive.
Yes.
So how
Okay.
do we reconcile that? How do we work on that?
Thank you very much. Very nice question. Beautiful question. See, you're absolutely right. 100% right. Unless we develop the spiritual identity, unless our spiritual identity will be established, we will be established in our spiritual identity. We will never be able to really practice it. So we need to gradually develop the spiritual identity, not just renounce or reject material identity as being false. That's true. And therefore, we should understand how the identity is being formed. Because we are relative truths, the spirit soul, the tiny spirit soul, is relative. So our identity, we recognize us and we kind of understand who we are and define even ourselves through the relationship with other people, right? I am the wife of such and such, I am the daughter of such and such, I am, mother of such and such people. So this is, while defining our material identity, we employ the relationship because we're relative, and therefore the definition of us is through the relationship. So in case of spiritual identity, the same mechanism is there. Because we're relative, we can only understand our spiritual identity or real identity, eternal identity, through the relationship, but through the relationship with Krishna. But we cannot really understand our relationship with Krishna immediately. Therefore, we start forming our spiritual identity by forming the relationship with spiritual master first, or with a sadhu. So if we relate to him, or to her, it doesn't matter, sadhvi or sadhu, and if we establish this relationship, in this relationship we will gradually manifest our real spiritual nature, spiritual identity, as much as we gradually manifest our material identity in relationship. Potentially, for example, you have this propensity to love as a mother, but you will never manifest yourself fully unless you have a child to love and to care. Unless you enter into this relationship and function in this relationship. So in exactly the same way, you should enter in a spiritual relationship with first spiritual master sadhus, with the great chain of spiritual successor, and start acting in this relationship in a proper way. So action in this relationship will help you to understand who you really are. You will understand it properly. You will, because you will manifest yourself in action, and you will like the way you're manifesting yourself. And ultimately, when you see Krishna, and at one point you will see Krishna, you will also see who you are. And they say that it happens on a level of asakti, and then when the attachment is very strong. And I just explained in London, I will not do it here in details through initiation, that the initiation is the process which is which is stretched over a prolonged period of time, and this is the process of gradually re-establishing our spiritual identity through the scientific samskaras which are implied by this initiation. Yes, that's the meaning.
Thank you, Maharaj. Second question, if you don't mind. So you're saying that we have to work on both sides concurrently, because while we work on our spiritual relationship, which takes time, we also have to function in our material relationship.
We should. Yeah.
So would you say if somebody has got mental issues, OCD or bipolar, they have to acknowledge that they do have that problem. That means they have to associate with that problem in order to get help. Because if they just say that's not me, they're not going to help themselves. To say that's my mind, that's not me, I'm a spirit soul. But the problem is that. So how would you see that understanding will help with somebody?
So, can you repeat what is exactly your question? If somebody has mental problem, then what, how?
Yes. So how would we, as devotees, say we were to see that I'm not this mind, making this is not me.
Okay.
But yet, unless you acknowledge that you do have this problem, you're not going to get any help.
Okay, yeah.
So how do we say no?
See, mind is a problem. Whether you have quote-unquote normal mind or abnormal mind, it's always a problem. The extent of this problem may be different, but it's a problem. So if you have this abnormal, and the solution is always the same. The solution of the mind is to be in contact with, for example, if you have some sort of, you're apparently psychologist, or at least you know the field. So if somebody has some psychological problem, the solution is to be in contact with somebody who has very healthy mind. At least, you know, the psychotherapist, whatever therapist, he's supposed to have more healthy mind. Whether it's true or not remains to be seen. In many cases it's not. But the healthy mind of the doctor, of psychologist, is supposed to, you know, help you to also understand what does it mean to function more properly. You know, when you see somebody, like when you see somebody who is balanced, who is kind, who is in a healthy way detached, who has loving relationship, you know, just to see such person, to see how he behaves, it's healing itself, right? You see how, you know, how much love he manifests, how he's kind, and you see this is the ideal how my mind should function. So the solution for either normal or abnormal mind is always the same, is association. Whether the person with abnormal mind will be able to appreciate this association, whether he will be able to, you know, really take advantage of this association, that remains to be seen. Not always. The problem may be too severe, and you just, in some severe case, you just cannot do anything. It's just karma, and he has to go through this, you know, period of time, and you know, still you can help him by, you know, giving him prasadam, by, you know, giving him some kirtans of the holy name, but you know. If somebody is normal, you can help him. So, did I answer your question? Was this question?
I think it is observing somebody who's normal.
Observing somebody who is normal, seeing him and associating with him, entering into deep relationship, and then you will feel the changes, positive changes, all the time.